October holds a very strange place in crypto lore. You only have to search Uptober on your favorite social media platform, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it is a very interesting trend that the market's really holding on to as a central narrative right now. Now, to save you some time, the basic premise is that in Octobers, we do tend to see a bit of a recovery in crypto markets. And that can lead into also what's known as a Q4 effect, where the whole of quarter four heading into the end of the year can be a bit of a bumper one. Now, we're here today to dive into what are the facts, what's the data, why would people even lean upon this as a crucial trend in the market? And to be fair, like we have seen crypto markets even over the last 2, 3 days since October started really start to kick and flip. We've seen Bitcoin even really starting to lead the way, which is a great sign for strength for the market, up 10% for the last 7 days. But let's dig in. What's actually behind this whole stance that the market has an affinity for Uptober as we should call it today? Now, this is a amalgamation of some historical price performance data. I've pulled aside here some of the top crypto assets by market cap. I've also chosen ones that have a bit more of a history than others, if you're wondering how I came to the decision of these three. But I wanted to highlight a key trend. When we look at this graphic here, just if you take a minute to digest it, even pause the video, you'll see it's pretty underwhelming. I'll catch your eye right to the bottom here. You see, if we go for the October column here, the average or the median for Bitcoin is about 14 to 11% over its lifetime, which is nothing to turn your nose up at, but it's nothing that really describes why every now and then we see these major jumps in crypto prices for Bitcoin particularly. Then we turn to some of the altcoins out there, XRP, Ethereum. It's not really very strong, is it? It's not a very compelling story that October bar 2021 here for Ethereum really has any massive outlier changes. And a lot of the central theme around this whole thesis of October, Q4, particularly this one in 2025 being a really important one, is because it's a post Bitcoin halving year. And if you're not sure what a Bitcoin halving is, I will include a link to this Learn article from Swyftx as a great video and some great content to go along with it. Breaks it down really simply, very key, crucial, fundamental catalyst for the crypto market. But essentially what you need to know is that it occurs approximately every 4 years, not the same time every date. Again, check out this video and I'll explain it all in depth. But we then add the caveat that we're only interested in years after a Bitcoin halving. That's when the trend becomes a little bit more materially clear as to why the market is really looking forward to October. Now, again, this is all specifically targeted at Bitcoin, those post-halving years, 2013, 2017, 2021, and of course, this year, 2025. What we can see is that in October's, we have seen huge appreciations in Bitcoin's price. Now, this is where the data gets a little bit more compelling. And again, I'll share a chart in a minute to describe why we may be seeing maybe a capital flight or rotation into Bitcoin specifically. But we can see in these previous years, we then can get a follow through into November and maybe even into December. The data there is a little less compelling, right? So again, it is why there is this heavy fixation on October right now, particularly if you're looking at Bitcoin. Now, another thing I wanted to cover is just understanding the market and its capital flows. So this is a chart of what's known as Bitcoin dominance. So what we're doing there is we're taking the whole pie, all the money that's currently parked in crypto, how many dollars are currently sitting in Bitcoin compared to the rest of the market. And all you need to take away from this is when it's increasing, there's more of a flight to Bitcoin. And when it's decreasing, that's when we start to see a lot of those moves in altcoins, which to be honest, we have started to see since July, where we see altcoins really start to fly in valuations. Now, we're closer to 2025 lows, which again represents why we have seen altcoins performing quite well to this date. But we're now, if we look at the most recent trend channel that we're in, starting to get to a very critical decision point. And again, if we tie back to this data of, okay, historically, Q4, October, after a halving year, we do tend to see Bitcoin outperform. It does suggest that we may be ready for a bit of a mean reversion on a chart like Bitcoin dominance. Again, a bit of a capital flight back to Bitcoin. And it does suggest that, again, from the data we can see here, why we might see altcoins maybe lag behind. There probably will be some outliers, but the market as a whole, if we even compare Ethereum against something like XRP, there isn't quite a lot of movement in the year of October. So that kind of sets us up on the scene of, okay, is October the month? Is October the month where we really start to see all-time highs for Bitcoin start to be the next key thesis? And we've all seen what all-time highs have brought for the rest of the market in most recent times, it definitely has resulted in a circulation of capital eventually back into altcoins, but it might take some time. And on that key point too is obviously we are seeing the US government currently in lockdown and shutdown. We have seen what sort of effect Donald Trump has had on markets already this year in 2025. Just to be a little bit rounded here, just want to pull out the caveat that we're not immune to those geopolitical fluctuations where the market may potentially de-risk if something absolutely crazy or out of the ordinary happens. But we can see this compelling argument that Bitcoin may be the next crypto asset that could be seeing some sort of flows. So that's what I'm looking at currently as well. But that's it from me today at Swyftx. Catch you again next time.